Hello, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation of the iLeague Season 3 Dota 2 Chinese qualifiers. Here we have the group stage match between Energy Pacemaker and Ehome, and it is game number 1 of a 2-game series. I am hella excited for some 6.84 Dota. Hope you guys are as well, so let's get right on into it. I am Blaze, going to be bringing you guys the solo commentary here this morning, and we'll be going at it as long as we can. It's going to be 8 hours, 8 games of Chinese Dota, so pretty much whatever you want to join me for, I'd be happy to have you guys. And hopefully get some new meta strats. Already seeing the first pick Enchantress come out from Ehome. That's going to be a lot of fun. Lanham or DDC, going to look to pick that one up. I remember DDC having a really strong jungle play, so I think he might be running it, but you never know. Lanham is an amazing support player and has some good flexibility too. But yeah, Enchantress prioritized as a first pick, guys. Huge buffs to the hero, really. The ability to enchant your creeps is nice, re-enchant them rather, so that you can keep their duration going, and if you need like a wild wing to save for a stack or something, you're fine with that, or if you just have a really good creep that you want to keep going with, then you're good with. The Mud Golems are clearly a buff to Enchantress just because she can do something with them. And then the late game aspects, her Impetus not being nullified by magic immunity, it just brings in this whole kind of caster meta where BKBs aren't nearly as powerful as they were in shutting down core heroes. So I love the idea of picking up Enchantress. I'm really surprised to see it as a first pick, but it seems to be a great way to start off their draft. ROTK knows that they want the supporting cast to be on their feet, active and strong, and in this way, Enchantress can be played in a lot of different ways, but she is kind of counteracted by another hero that I've found to be very powerful in 6.84, and that's the Ursa. If Ursa hits the field, Enchantress is untouchable, it really doesn't do much to him, and he's going to be able to just chew through her. But Shadow Fiend could be coming through as the second pick here, so she's going to be ganking and helping out the mid lane whilst progressing herself. Lina, Phantom Lancer, going to be the pickups for Energy Pacemaker. I think it's going to be a support Lina here. I mean, the Spirit Lance pretty well sets up the Light Strike array, and Lina is so good at zoning long range with those right clicks. Neither one really that much more palpable in 6.84. I'll look up some stats to make sure they didn't get too many big buffs, but if there were any, it seemed to be kind of the moderate ones, but I'll get information on that, looking that up real quick here. Aghanim Scepter, upgrade Laguna Blade, no longer increases cast range, and for Phantom Lancer, nothing. So, just maybe some new items, perhaps. Obviously, you always got to look for some of the interesting ones, like the Octarine for perhaps the Lina, but I would say she's more countered by this patch by items like Lotus Orb and Glimmer Cape, more so than she's benefiting from it.
10 seconds
Still,
remaining.
Some good heroes that are just all around kind of very powerful in 6.83 and not too shabby in 6.84. Should be fun to check out what they've got to bring to the table. But Shadow Fiend's pretty good, just overall adding a lot of potential AoE damage in terms of magic, and then of course has good physical right click to bring to the mid to late game. But look at these bans here. We've got Witch Doctor and Broodmother taken off the table. Broodmother actually makes a lot of sense here. Brood could cause a lot of difficulty to Ehome, considering they're going to have weak supports in their safe lane. The Enchantress is not going to be... She can help out the Shadow Fiend a lot, but as far as addressing a Broodmother, she'd have to have the perfect creeps and commit a lot to sentry wards very early on.
Team pick.
I wonder if Broodmother is actually now in 6.84 able to just bring tangos and sentries to the lane, and whenever she sees that she's being detected, just drops down her own sentry ward and immediately tangos the enemies. I wonder if that's actually legit. I guess it would be kind of a quick draw between the two heroes though, because they can tango your sentry too, and then you don't have a sentry and they eat it and they get the HP regen and then you're detected. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I'd like to flesh that out maybe more in pubs. Try the Tango Sentry offlane strat for Broodmother. But Ember Spirit going to be banned out. Obviously, Phantom Lancer not really that great at dealing with the hero after he gets his Battle Fury up. So they just want to go ahead and take that off the table and make their lanes a little bit easier probably too. I'm actually going to go for a Spear Breaker here, and I think this is a pretty strong pick at this phase in the draft. I've seen them first picked, and I'm not really a big fan of that, because of how easy it is to draft up quick disables to take out the Charge of Darkness, like Hex and stuff like that. But here we see him as kind of a third pick hero to bring to the table, bring to bear against Ehome, and I think there's a lot of potential with that. He can charge in, he can find Enchantress in the jungle if they get some good wards down. He can certainly gank up the Shadow Fiend hardcore. That should be pretty easy for him, actually. And just in general, they're going to be able to put out pressure on the map. And it's actually the drafter here. Ghost Gamers has him listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's probably the best I've got. There's a 2 in there, I'm sure, but yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He seems to be the best Spear Breaker on their team, and he's probably going to be picking that up for himself. Centaur, though, I'm excited to see this one. I think this is probably one of the most underrated heroes in the patch this week, but next month you're going to be seeing him more games than not, I would say. At least banned, if not picked. Centaur Warrunner is extremely powerful in terms of his timing. I mean, getting the ganks out with his Blink Dagger early on. The ability to upgrade his charge realistically too, to a point where he's able to just give you guys a massive mitigation for your teammates. So Enchantress and Shadow Fiend could become these glass cannons, and during the stampede they can be fine with that. Like, you're stampeding around with Impetus on Enchantress, she's gonna just keep on laying in those massive range right clicks. And I don't think this is gonna be an Alchemist strat or anything like that. It technically could be, but I think more likely it's just going to be kind of a all-around good lineup with the heroes that happen to have 2 good Aghanim Scepters, the Enchantress and the Centaur. Night Stalker going to be coming out from Energy Pacemaker. Going to see that maybe in the support role. We could see support Night Stalker and Lina, and then offlane Spear Breaker. Very gank-oriented, very kill-tastic. They're just really looking to bully people out of the lanes and cause some difficulty there. I don't believe Enchantress has improved night vision anymore. She used to, but I actually believe she just has normal night vision now, so Night Stalker has a huge point of leverage ganking the Enchantress at nighttime, catching her off guard, slowing her down, and making sure that Fluffy Tail status remains touched. At this point, that YouTube video is so old, I think that meme's outdated. You guys have to let me know in the chat, guys. Is Fluffy's tail status touched, untouched a thing still? Because I still find it kind of amusing, slamming and jamming anti-mage, but that's actually, it's like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years? Shoot, time flies. Time just flies. So, Ogre Magi is going to be the last pick here for Ehome. They've got, well, 4th pick. They've got 1 more to go. The Luna is more there's a couple reasons for the Luna here. First of all, it's a carry, which Ehome are lacking. They want to go ahead and put ZYF on their traditional carry, agility-based, want to be able to build them up. Number 2, good against Phantom Lancer. Moonglaze can clear those illusions out pretty well and deal a lot of damage. And number 3, good against Night Stalker, because she's able to see further in the nighttime. So the Night Stalker's suppression of darkness works well, but just natural nighttime, she's as strong at avoiding ganks as he is at ganking naturally. So the 4th thing I mentioned is she can stop charging with Lucent Beam, but that's probably the lowest of those factoids. Really, it's more about her being that carry position that could deal with the PDL and Night Stalker a lot better than most. So pretty smart ban from Energy Pacemaker. And it's going to be a Crystal Maiden ban coming out from Ehome, actually. So they're still worried about this mid-Lina and possibly like a support Night Stalker Crystal Maiden duo, which could be kind of scary. I mean, the jungling aspect of the hero. Oh, and the fact that she counterouts Enchantress's neutral creeps. Up against Chen or Enchantress, in pubs, I love to pick up Crystal Maiden and just go, okay, well, I'll Frostbite one of your creeps, I'll Midas another one, and suddenly your army's gone. And that's just so frustrating to play against. So, and she got some good buffs in the last patch, so I understand why she was taken out. We're going to see Magnus, actually, here, empowering the Phantom Lancer. So, Spear Breaker, no, it should be a mid-Magnus. Okay, exactly as I was thinking. They were looking for a mid laner. Spear Breaker offlane, Night Stalker Lina as the supports, and this Magnus should be able to do some work, just kind of giving Phantom Lancer that steroid to take to the fight early.
Tide Hunter.
And Tide is going to come out as the last pick here for Ehome, so RTK going to be able to pilot that one, and that means ZYF is actually playing on the safe lane Centaur. This is pretty interesting. So, carry Centaur, number 1 position Centaur. Mid Shadow Fiend, played by Penny Tang or BOA, and then ROTK is offline in the Tide. Now the idea here is to get 2 items up on everybody, about 6 to 10,000 net worth, somewhere in there. I know that's a pretty big range, but it just depends on who's farming fastest. But everybody gets at least 6,000 net worth, and then you just start crushing people with ultimates, back to back to back. Between Ravage and Stampede, especially with an Aghanim Scepter that I'm sure ZYF will go as his second item, you're going to have incredible ganking presence. You're going to have incredible map control. You can take any fight you want. And I think they look to end the game by like 40 minutes. They don't have to too quickly, because Enchantress actually, if she goes for like a Hand of Midas this game, can be considered a carry of her own. Like, as the Centaur Warrunner won't be able to carry the game just because he's getting safe lane farm. He'll be able to kind of tempo control the game so that the Enchantress can actually play a little greedily. If she's able to do just that, the Enchantress is able to kind of become that right-click carry based on the Impetus Steroid. The fact that it goes through magic immunity, the fact that she can get that extra attack range with Aghanims, like, it's really difficult for EP to deal with. I mean, just think about the items that EP wants to go here. They don't want to have to go for BKBs against Shadow Fiend and Enchantress, now that Enchantress's pure damage goes through BKB. But Centaur and Tide very commonly force that, so we'll see this breakdown pretty quickly, but we're going to see an invasion right now from EP, walking around in the jungle trying to see what they can do, and looks like they're not going to get much. They're a little bit worried. Obviously, the Enchantress isn't that great level 1, but DDC coming in with the Fire Blast from the flank might be able to get somebody off guard. Lightstrike Ray onto RTK. He's going to get an Anchor Smash on 2, but still taking massive damage, and he will go down first. Now DDC in an awkward spot along with ZYF. The Lightstrike Ray misses, and the double raise from Penny Tang. Triple raise coming out to clean it up here. Great raises from the Shadow Fiend, and he stands his ground, but the double Lightstrike Ray cleans him up as well. They will get the Spirit Breaker for their trouble, though, and DDC now on the run can at least cancel this Clarity. No mana for you. No main goes for you. Fire Blast goes out on LT, and Lana will just chase him down with the enchant. One more right click to be delivered, and it will be sufficient. DDC on the run with the boots. The Shockwave catches him out. What a cosmetic item coming in from this Magnus. Is that his new Immortal? Is that the shiny Immortal weapon picked up from the compendium? Only $10 in the Dota 2 store. I believe it is. But what a fun fight to start us off here in the iLeague Chinese qualifiers, and self-deny, because why not? You spent all your money, you're only going to lose 17 gold, dying to Roshan. Go for it, man. Make it 4-4, even though technically I would have to say that it was pretty clear that EP won that fight. They took it 4-3 in that engagement, very active very early, and a couple other aspects is how weak the Enchantress is in the like level 1 clashes. Like, she doesn't have any creeps to work with, so she's just a right clicker with a little bit of slow. She has some good movement speed, so that's not too shabby, but nah, it wasn't the best. And Fire Blast versus Ignite, actually generally prefer Ignite, but the Fire Blast did do some good work there. Still, the Lina did so much more. Those Lightstrike Rays are huge, just absolutely immense, so that was really good from EP. If it wasn't for the raises, the Penny Tang hit 2 to 4 people with every raise, and that was absolutely insane. The magic damage he put out in that fight completely shifted the momentum. The Ehome would have gotten nothing out of it if not for the SF raises. But we're going to see up top here a good combo stun up. Unfortunately, Centaur can't man up enough for the double edge. We're going to see a Centaur come in. DDC dropping low. He will barely survive. The last right click finishes him off, and now they're chasing on the fan. He's got the doppelganger though, so they're just baiting right now. Lanham taking the bait. He'll go in. Body blocking with the Centaur, now running with his hero, but it's not going to get enough distance to keep him alive. Wow, this freaking game. It's just going to be full tempo, full throttle from the onset. We see all these creeps, this massive wave coming through, straight through the top lane, and we'll see how Fan deals with it. So hard to farm under tower under so much pressure up against these heroes, but yeah, it's the aggro jungle from Lanham. It's going to be Fan going for the doppel away, and the Lightstrike Ray keeping them at bay. And this is just turning into an insane game of Dota 2 with a lot of activity very early on. And down bottom, RTK is going to be hit by the charge, getting rocked, and that is just a little bit too much damage for him to deal with. He is actually going for a 0-2-1 build to try to survive here, but he went very far forward despite the activity that you're expecting from these two heroes. Spirit Breaker along with the Night Stalker, or sorry, along with the Magnus. Yeah, a lot of potential there. Not sure how the mid laner got to the bottom lane in that quickly, but he's actually going to use his Shockwave to stack these lesser dragons, and that's going to actually make it so that he can farm those up later, or maybe the Phantom Lancer. We're going to see kind of a duo jungle here. DDC now 1-1-0 with Enchantress, who's got her Hellbear and her Dark Troll Summoner, and she's building herself up pretty quickly here. Going to get level 3, and we'll see what Lanham does with it. 1-1-1, pretty good build here, and he's got great creeps to gank with, but we'll see if they can find the opening. Night Stalker, round in the corner, perfect vision. This is what Radiant see, but yeah, it's going to be the Fire Blast, it's going to be the Hellbear Clap, it is going to be the death of the Night Stalker. You're a Daywalker, mister. And this is going to be him going down. Man, that Shockwave is going to take some getting used to, though. That is so weird. That's literally the first time I've seen it. I guess it came out today, though. But I would not be surprised if it is affecting these players a little bit in terms of their ability to dodge that ability, just because cosmetics don't ruin Dota 2 or anything, but the very first game that you see them, they will throw you off a little bit. The very first time you see the new Mirana arrow, the very first time you see this new Shockwave, it'll make you think twice. It'll distract you a little bit. So once the second game you play against it, it's like, okay, now I know what I'm looking at, but the very first game, it's a little annoying. We're going to see Anchor Smash come through just onto the Spirit Breaker. He needs one more bash to really hammer this one home. They really want this kill. There is a kill on the Magnus, but for now we'll watch our OTK. The charge against him. Gets the bash, but he needs one more to bring him down. He's so damn tanky. Saving in the trees. Anchor Smash against 2, but he has to tango his way out. He can't fight this without the help of the tower, but he's still going to try. He's going to keep going. There's a guaranteed charge bash onto him from the Spirit Breaker, and Night Stalker is trapped in the trees. He can't actually do anything now without any mana, without any health, and Penny Tank will look to clean this up. Spirit Breaker charging out to the creep wave. Night Stalker going down. And in the meantime, Magnus did go down in the mid lane, and I'm assuming that's just Penny Tank outplaying the Magnus there. He's got, Old Chicken has his bottle, he has his skewer, but when it comes down to it, Shadowfeed's just connecting with too many raises right now. He's doing so well. So on point with his ability usage this game, but it's going to be Lanham to go down, it looks like. Yeah, too much nuke for him to deal with. Between Void, Spirit Lance, and the Lina combo, this is just not an easy game for Enchantress. I actually am really surprised how active they're being with these heroes. Now we're going to see DDC take some hits. Nice dodge of the Hoof Stomp with the Doppelganger, and he can't even find the right illusion to Fire Blast. Satyr goes down too. Man, this is just such an active game all over the place here. Penny Tang racing for the rune here against Old Chicken, but Old Chicken can look for the skewer onto the cliff. No, just away from the rune. He'll pick up that bounty rune. And with the bounty claimed, he will go on the run. I think he'll go for bottom rune too. The ideal here is to deny SF the regen of the bottle. Penny Tang going to get charged on. He's going to go for this haste rune, though, and Dire have yet to counter it. I actually think they're going to give it to him. If Magnus had just run for this rune, he would have gotten both the bounty and the haste, but instead, Penny Tang gets his refill, and that's a really big mistake in my mind. If they're able to go for the skewer play to take away one rune, they can take away the second, force him to Bottle Crow, and force him to play a lot more passive, which would be a really big deal considering he's the large and in charge at 3,500 net worth. So let's just look at the quick state of the game. It is back and forth, topsy-turvy here, but about 750 leads is where it capped before going back down to 0. And we kind of hit an equilibrium between the two sides. Down bottom, we're going to see it dive pretty deep here for the Spirit Breaker, but they don't have Ravage actually skilled. If it wasn't for these bashes, he'd already be dead, but the haste rune works out, and that's what you get for not picking up that haste rune. You get death. Penny Tang makes use of it as they make their gank play down bottom, and use one of the centaurs to get that easy kill. So now they have Ravage. A 1-3-2-1 build is something I can't say I've ever seen, but there it is. Old Chicken gonna be able to skewer away from the first Ravage of the game, so that is a whiff, that is a Sheever, and now we're gonna be seeing Lina TPing into a very awkward position. The Gush Centaur could have come out, but no, they're just going for the tower, trying to bring it down. 16 HP, and it will go down to the Tide. Now Doppelganger away. Fan will be able to disengage Old Chicken with the flank. But who is actually going to start this fight off? It's a charge going on to Penny Tang. They want to focus the Shadow Fiend here. The RP onto 2. Massive damage. A good Anchor Smash, but it's not going to keep him alive. Or maybe it will. The Stampede pulling DDC out. The nuke's coming through. They need a Void onto DDC. There's the Earth of Shadows. That's going to be his death. And they charge to make sure of it. RTK now in a rough spot. The Anchor Smash is going to be cooling down, and he will get it. But they're not turning any of these heroes. They're going to get the enchant and the stuns out onto the Spirit Breaker. He will take down to the Ignite. Centaur on the front line here, doesn't know where to go. Magic Stick will keep him up, but Fan with the Spirit Lance finishes off ZYF. Now he's in some trouble. DDC trying to bring him down, but out of spells. Going to be maybe out of life. It's Lanham to chase down the Phantom Lancer. He lives with 20 HP, and it's going to be Magnus to go down next with Penny Tang back in the game. Ogre did survive the Lay's chase there. The last Void did not bring him down, and now Penny Tang's got a couple of raises with the Night Stalker's names on it, and that is going to be a nice cleanup for him. He's back up to 32 souls just off of that kill alone. Oh my. They have Radiant Vision here, so they know about Lena's approach, and that should slow things down a little bit, because wow. Just wow, guys. This game just is getting a little fast for my likings. I like to sometimes slow it down, talk about items, talk about synergies and counter synergies, tactics, strategy. This is just chaos. This is like full CIS chaos. But you see, overall, this is benefiting EP just a little bit more with the buyback of the Ogre. Obviously, the big damage is from that reverse polarity and from Phantom Lancer just staying in the fight, spamming lance after lance. He's going to go for this battle build, the Treads, Aquila, and Drums of Endurance, and that's doing a lot. Really, it's Shadow Fiend that's the saving grace for Ehome. If not for Penny Tang's play this game, I feel like they would be down and out. But this guy is amazing. 6-2-1 on a Shadow Fiend that's being heavily pressured, heavily focused in the fights. But he's doing amazing work here. In the meantime, Magnus, in all of this nonsense, is able to get 35 last hits, 2 kills, 6 assists, equating to 1 Blink Dagger. And Lanham messes around with an Illusion Rune, denying it from Old Chicken. So Magnus has the Blink RP. He even goes for the Skewer build here. No Empower yet. So he's all about just making sure that his spells land true and make the biggest impact they can. So it's going to be kind of RP versus Ravage for this next fight here. RTK going for this mech build. Generally speaking, I say that I don't like Mechanism on Tide. I feel it limits his mana progression. Oh, wow. Actually, going to be some good damage flying out against RTK here with the Laguna Blade. But yeah, generally speaking, I say I don't like Mech on Tide. This game, I have to say, I love it. It's very important. And with all this combat going on, we're going to see the Skewer charge onto Penny Tang. The sprites are not with us yet. Nature's Attendants come out really late there, and they're not able to get the Shadow Fiend back on his feet. It's going to be Spirit Breaker running away. Perfectly fine, and that's a freebie for them with the Blink RP. Good play there, using the Blink aggressively. And we're going to see another Blink, just getting Vision so they can charge onto land. And the Fire Blast is too late. The Greater Bash comes through, but Spirit Breaker is quite low. And now they're going to chase. Lay gets some damage onto DDC, but moving as fast as can be. It's just not the hero you want to chase down into the jungle. Not at nighttime. Darkness popped. Ehome have to wait it out. 50 seconds where they just cannot control the map whatsoever. And RTK will find some farm. And again, I think the Mechanism is big here. I think having anybody with Mechanism is important when so many classes are coming out so early. This is just full-on active Dota. And again, these heroes are too fast for Ehome to really fight against without the Stampede, cooling down in 18 seconds. So they're just going to have to wait out the darkness. But when the darkness dispels, the Veil of Night returns with the 12-minute mark. So great time on the Night Stalker. Timing his ultimate about 55 seconds before nighttime will break out anyways. It just ends up extending the night and allows them to keep this aggression alive. We're going to see the charge here to Lanham. Easy Blink Skewer Laguna. No chance in hell for him to get out. But Lay is going to be eating up a lot of damage here. Nice triple. I like a Light Strike Array. If only they had the RP off cooldown, that would have been huge. But still, I mean, it turns out to be a 1-for-1 support for support. RTK is able to farm just enough to finish up his Mechanism, and I think that's going to be big for the next fight. Ravage and Mech are pretty much the cooldowns to have available for these full 5-on-5s that could easily turn the fight. So let's look at quick items. Obviously the Earned Shadows from both sides we've seen quite a bit of. There is going to be a Blade Mail coming out on the Spirit Breaker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 has picked this up a few times before and seems to enjoy this build. Yule Scepter for the Shadow Fiend will be nice when these spells get crazy, when there's just so much going on and you just have to do something to focus somebody down. You can kind of set your target in your sights with the Requiem after Yule's, and also you can save yourself in a tough spot. The one problem is it did get nerfed. It costs 175 mana now with the new recipe, and that's not always ideal. And I don't even know. This game, like, I just woke up, guys. I've been up for, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes, and I'm trying to cast a 2 kills per minute game. I don't even. But any other items? Nothing. Okay, we're good. We're gonna see a Blink RP on to 3 here, but the Yules from Penny Tang saves them and actually kills off the Magnus as they just need one more raise to bring him down. LT with the Laguna, but doesn't get anything in return. That was an amazing Yule Scepter. That would have been a triple RP into 3-man skewer under the tower with Light Strike Array on top. But no, Penny Tang disrupts it with the Yules, and they make that happen. Down under the bottom tier 1, there is going to be a solo charge. Spirit Breaker with the Nether Strike brings the Centaur down. No problem at all. Night Stalker getting the experience. I don't know. So, yeah, Centaur kills the Night Stalker in the process, but he does go down to send the Spirit Breaker Night Stalker combo. Very heavy ganking duo. So we've got 2,500 gold momentum for Ehome, 1,000 experience momentum as well. Blink Dagger is the key thing Centaur needed. Now he has it, and he's going to be able to fight that much more effectively. He'll start the fights. RTK will finish it. He's got to walk it in here with the Tide. Kind of slow at 360 MS and no Blink or Force Staff just yet. But overall, it's still, as long as the Centaur is initiating well, if he's Blink Stomping and following it up with a Stampede, they could charge on anything, and the RTK will still get a great Ravage off. There was the death of the Phantom Lancer up here. Man, action all over the map, guys. It's really hard to keep track of it all, but Fan has completed his Drums of Endurance and is just going to progress towards his next big thing. If you guys really want, I could go ahead and look up what happened to Phantom Lancer. We have a few seconds here before our next clash. So Phantom Lancer looks like it won't tell us what happened to the Phantom Lancer. I want to know. I want to know. I can't not know. Shadow Fiend hits him with the Requiem, and that brings him down. Did he really get 2 Requiems off that quick? 110 seconds. That's pretty impressive. Because he definitely used it on the Magnus earlier. I don't remember the PL being there. Maybe I'm losing my mind. I don't know, guys. So we got 22 Soul Shadow Fiend trying to build himself back up to 36 for the next big Requiem. We're going to see a 4-man smoke gang coming through with all their cooldowns available. Looking to blink in, looking to get aggressive, looking to snag some Centaurs from the enemy jungle. The Dire do not see this coming just yet, but it looks like it's going to be revealed. Centaur will hit the creep wave, and that gank is going to be thwarted. PL now looking for a agility item, either the Yasha or the Diffusal. At this point, the game's been so active, you probably need the Diffusal now. Sometimes you can wait it out and go for a farming build, but this is not one of those games. 17 to 17, it's just too active. You need to just kind of go for a nuclear arms race of building up the big guns really quickly, and the Diffusal's going to allow him to fight. Okay, so we've got a tier 1 tower kill up top, tier 1 tower kill down bottom. Blade Mail up for the Spirit Breaker, and he'll go for a BKB next, or so you would think. And Aghanim Scepter in progress for Lanham. That's going to be the big next big item for Ehome, I would say. You can get like a BKB on the Shadow Fiend, and he'll be pretty good, but we're going to see just avoiding fights for now. Fan and Penny Tang rotating to the most farm efficient lanes and taking care of business. I'm wondering if there's a team that's open to Roche a little bit earlier than the other. Untouchable is good against Roche, but there's only 2 points in it right now. Shadow Fiend's Presence of the Dark Lord not too shabby against it either. And EP pretty bad at Roshan, other than the Lina. Lina's good at Roshan because of Light Strike Array and Fiery Soul. The Phantom Lancer, weaker than most heroes just because these illusions do nothing but tank. So I think it's just going to be a farm, no objective really needs taking after all these tier 1s have been killed off already. We've got a tier 1 in mid for the Radiant side. They're going to have that at 830 HP. All the other tier 1 towers are gone, so Ehome do have a slight advantage just based on that tower. But yeah, as far as Roshan, as far as ancient stacks, it's going to be hard for heroes to contest those directly. Still going to scout out the Rosh Pit just in case, but it's actually going to be up here that we see our next clash. Hiding on the high ground. Oh, poor little Lina all by herself. The Radiant looking for it. They see a glimpse of a hero across the way, and DDC smoke does break out. Dire don't see it on the high ground, though. Gonna see RTK walking right in. The Blink Stomp gonna come through right next to her tier 3 tower, and she will go down solo. Oh, boy. So we're going to see Old Chicken pressuring bottom lane, just doing what he can to keep momentum going down that way. And in the meantime, they do see this ancient stack, and they'll look to anchor smash it down. Or so you would think. I think it makes sense that RTK could tank this up. Takes absolutely no damage from ancients with the Kraken Shell. But now we're seeing a charge forward and into the trees next to the shop, barely away from combat, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blinking away his Old Chicken, and farming top is Penny Tang. So he just wants that BKB before the next fight. Probably his best item to just build himself up for the next engagement. He's going to be able to do a lot more in the fights when he has that magic immunity, but they have to be a little bit wary now. It is nighttime. Nighttime is fight time for the Night Stalker, and he's going to get active very quickly here. Might get one ward down in the Dire jungle, probably just placing it up in a good defensive spot, but actually goes very, very defensive. Up here towards the lane, wants to see any smokes breaking around this area here in this box. And otherwise, yeah, they just are going to be farming for the moment. Generally speaking, you don't pop Darkness and then reveal yourself on the map to farm, but that's what makes it so interesting, is when Darkness is popped, you have to wonder if something is up, if there is an offensive game plan, and it makes you think twice, actually. Limits RTK's potential to catch off the Magnus here, and they just go for a couple TPs back home. But yeah, so I mean the Darkness is kind of a bit of a feint. They just go and say, okay, well, fear the night, keep you guessing whether or not something's going to happen. But now we do see a real Rosh opportunity here. Double damage up for Penny Tang if he gets somebody to tank this up. Earnest Shadows as well as the Sprites available, and Lanham's got that untouchable, so this should be a pretty easy Rosh unless Magnus does something about it. But Magnus just TP'd back home. He is only just now back in this position. Dire side, they do see it, but they can't really address it. They're just going to push out the lanes. So that's going to be a free rush going to the side of Ehome, and Penny Tang will easily claim that Aegis. Only one BKB, 2 lives, but still a very nice claim for the Shadow Fiend. Allows them to do so much more in the fights, and they will get the deny on the tower. I think this is the first deny this game, but to be honest, it's been difficult catching all that. So we've got some shard golems coming out here. The stun duration is pretty short at only 0.6. It's kind of a mini stun, but the damage is actually pretty legit. 125 damage coming in from each little shard. Land them, microing up some golems, and they'll see what the work they can do.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Apparently they're the construction workers of this game. They're just watching. They're just watching as everybody else does some good work, and you know, they'll check some boxes off their lists. But now they go to work, doing a little bit of damage here. Just 9 right click. They're making their contribution known. Good stuff. That's interesting. When the shard golems break, they show up as white dots on the minimap. I don't know if the stream quality is good enough to show that, but I think there's a chance that these guys don't give you last. I'll have to test that in lobbies, but I think there's a chance that the shard golems actually don't give you last hit gold. It's a bug that happens when you reload into lobbies. Is Enchantress and Chen and Dominators lose control of their neutral units. They actually become neutrals under their control again, and it seems to be what shard golems are doing. So maybe there'll be a bugged out to not last hit in favor of that Enchantress. But right out, Fan gonna be taking some damage here, and Yeah, we're actually going to see a lot of damage going up against the Centaur. Fan turns it back around, and with the Diffuser Blade, could go for DDC too. Oh no, it's a 2 versus 1 where they both feed the PL here. And now Phantom Lancer, or sorry, the Shadow Fiend getting caught out with the Blink RP. They take down 3. 2 on the top lane with the Phantom Lancer soloing them. And then following it through, of course, is the entirety of EP finding out the Shadow Fiend there. So using a couple of good ultis there. RP is on cooldown as well, the Nether Strike Laguna Blade, but all the same, that is up top is where really the sad action happened. Like committing those ultimates to bring down Shadow Fiend, sure, that's an equivalent exchange. That they use the RP for the first kill to break the Aegis, and then the second one they use the Laguna and Nether Strike. That makes sense. That happens in Dota 2. Phantom Lancer getting a 1v2 double kill. It feels like somebody made a mistake in that shot call there, but yeah, ZYF tries to make a play against his nemesis here, and Fan just lets him have it. Now he's going to not only form up a couple of heroes for himself, but gets empowered, and is going to be rocking these Ancients world. Just going to be building himself up so quickly to the Manta style, but looks like Ehome don't want to just passively wait this one out. They want to make some things happen. Unfortunately, Enchantress isn't progressing at all. RTK is moving in towards that Refresher Orb. 1 Perseverance down. Another to go, but I don't know, guys. I really feel like if Lanham doesn't get the Ag Scepter, then this draft doesn't really have that much mid to late game. Maybe they want to prioritize ZYF's BKB or Ags, though. We'll have to see. More charge play, but Observer Ward scouting it out, so should be quite clear that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is heading this way, and they'd be ganking him if there was ever the opportunity.
Nature, attend us.
BKB going to come out for the Spirit Breaker pretty soon here. BKB up for Night Stalker as well. But they kind of have a passive period where they just want to use the darkness if they have to. They just got level 11 on the Night Stalker, and man, he's got a cool portrait now. Actually, I have not seen this portrait. I don't know when they fixed that, but like, does that not look cool or what? Just down there in the corner. Interesting. Anyways, but yeah, we're going to see a nice flank coming out from the Radiant side, but a TP out. It will allow Night Stalker to escape. Spirit Breaker hiding in the trees here. Looks like he'll get caught out. And yeah, they'll find him. They'll stop him, and they'll get a free kill. Blade. Oh, charge! Charge! Fire Blast! There, they lock him down. Could have been an interesting escape, but they're actually kind of space creating this one, as Fan is able to push heavily up top, and RTK can't do anything about it here. They're not going to be able to save the HP on this tier 3 tower for much longer. It's down to 330 HP, and RTK, out of mana, out of Arcane Boots, is going to be just charged on by Fan. He won't be able to finish him off as he doesn't have sustained slowing effects, but he is going to be doppling away here. Still, yeah. I mean, if he had like an Eye of Scotty or something, that would actually allow him to kill the Tide, but because of Kraken Shell, quick slows like Spirit Lance and Diffusal do get purged off. Still, I mean, Fan is doing amazing this game, and I kind of feel like Ehome are letting him to an extent. Right now, they've given him up a few too many kills. He's 4, 2, and 8 on a PL, and then he's also gotten a lot of free time on this tier 3 tower. This can be denied, but it's also not something Ehome really want to do. Holding the high ground is really important, and every auto attack on Rex counts. In 6.84, there's a lot of people who are kind of considering the aspect of even one lane of Rax down is now GG, just because of how much gold momentum it actually gives if you don't get a wipe. You have to kind of, if you lose Rax, you have to team wipe your opponents to actually make up for it. Otherwise, you just lose way too much in the game. So, and more shifts away from defense of the Ancients and more to defense of the Rax, unless you have some tremendous late game heroes. And since Ehome went for kind of a tempo draft with the Centaur and the Enchantress, they really have to make every play count. We're going to see Fan here caught out in a really awkward spot. Nice Yule's play here. Penny Tang with the Requiem, and it is going to be good. Connecting onto Fan, bringing him down for 68 seconds, and that's exactly what they needed. Finding a kill on the Phantom Lancer, forcing the objective like a tier 2, and with the double damage and Bloodlust, this should be pretty easy. This tower will go down very quickly, even with a fortification.
Tower is under attack.
We're going to see some damage go into the bottom lane as well. LT is going to do what he can there, but this tier 2 tower is just going to be chunked down so quickly. And I'm curious if they try for the tier 3. I mean, right now Magnus, they don't know it, but he's farming the jungle without any mana or HP. He's got a TP back home pretty soon, but Ehome, they're just going to control the jungle. Spearbreaker charging up top, might be getting fire blasted. They can't actually hoof stomp him. Centaur would just be bashed, so in the end, they won't be able to punish that. Enchantress 1300 off of Ags. Refresher, I don't even know how much that costs anymore. I mean, I think it's only like 50 gold difference than what it cost before, but it's still hard to estimate all that stuff in my head. A lot of little minor changes, but yep, the Tide is going to be quite a ways off the Refresher Orb still, and actually down bottom it's Yules against Penny Tang here. He pops the BKB though, and with the Stampede, Lei can't stay on top of him long enough to get the Void play here. He's just going to get hit by the Anchor Smash, and they're going to be able to counterplay against him. The TP away is too slow as Penny Tang right-clicks him down. Agitreads plus Yasha give him quite a bit of attack speed, and the Bloodlust now will enhance that even further. So they BKB for BKB traded out, but Penny Tang is the one to be able to kill off the Night Stalker instead. Great usage of the Stampede there. Really, really good. It is kind of a support Night Stalker, so in the end, trading BKB for BKB, it's less relevant for him, but he's still his game plan was not to be feeding there in that circumstance, even for a BKB charge. What's this courier doing? Buying out an Ultimate Orb. I forgot, you can buy Ultimate Orbs only at the Secret Shop and Side Shop now. So, for the Shadow Fiend who wants to finish up a Manta style, you kind of have to go for something a little different. Manta's an interesting pickup this game. Gives you a few possibilities of how you can use it. First and foremost, you can dodge a couple of key ground target spells, the Light Strike Array, technically the Laguna Blade, as well as a projectile, and then the RP. Those are the three things you really want to dodge. Another thing you can do is Dispel Crippling Fear if your BKB is on cooldown or you just don't want to use it. And the third thing to mention is that the Nether Strike targeting, you can break that. He starts Nether Striking you, you pop Manta, and he has to reset, rear back up on his hind legs, and that wastes a lot of time from him. So that, along with some good split push potential, makes this a pretty good pickup. But he still needs to kind of really go into a damage item next. So I don't know if he goes for crit, if he goes for butterfly. Scotty, I mean, we've seen that plenty. Hard to really say. We're going to see Harpy Stormcrafter scout out the pit here. Should be actually a good opportunity for Ehome to get involved. They've got Stampede, they've got Ravage, and they immediately turn with the smoke. Going in, Blink is off cooldown in 3 seconds. But with the darkness, actually just the nighttime, it's really hard to see exactly what they want to get themselves into. So they're just going to check the pit, see Roshan sitting a little bit off center. Seems to have adjusted himself, made himself more comfortable here in the pit, and he's sitting at 8,700 HP. Is it just me, or is he like sitting kind of weird? Like he's usually further back, but he's like, nah, I'm chilling here. We're seeing the RP onto Penny Tang. He's got the BKB. They've got to save him. They've got to help, but he just can't stay alive. It's gonna be the Ravage against all these BKBs. Anchor Smash onto 3, but Lanham is taking a lot of damage. Penny Tang thrown up in the air by his own Cyclone. It does keep him alive for now. He's in the trees. He's actually still alive. Penny Tang juking away from all of this. He lives, and Centaur now caught in the bashes, in the charge. He will fall on the front line. Spirit Breaker and Night Stalker desperately low, but they're both getting away with the Earnest Shadows. Ignite connects, but everybody's falling in the meantime. SF didn't go back home. He stayed in the fight, and he does get punished for it. It's going to be a full 5-man wipe, and Fan is going to get a rampage here with these last illusions. ROTK may block most of their damage, but in the end, Fan will find the rampage on the Phantom Lancer here at 32 minutes. Oh, that fight extended so damn long, but in the end, the Phantom Lancer damage adds up to 3,000. 2,100 from the Lina too. She did some great work with those Light Strike Arrays on the back line, and she burst down Lanham very early in the fight with the Laguna. Now she'll have her Aghanim Scepter, and that'll be all too easy. the Death Star laser beam is online from Lina, and that is, or Lina, that is going to be very scary. But yeah, I mean, the SF was doing some good damage there, some good kiting, survived for a long time. He got to the western side of the fight, but it seemed like he stayed too long. Like, I feel like he could have just ran and he would have been able to get away, but because he stuck around, he got pummeled, and he was another casualty of war there. A big aspect of that fight, I think, is the fact that Centaur does have a BKB instead of an Aghanim Scepter. I'm not chastising this pickup, but I will kind of weigh the differences in that particular engagement. I like the BKB up against Diffusal Blade because Centaur without mana is pretty friggin' useless. He right-clicks and double edges. It's not great. But if he had the Aghanim Scepter now instead of the BKB, that 80% reduction, or 70% damage reduction that you get for the 3.75 seconds would have done so much for the Shadow Fiend there. The timing that he was stampeded, he was still taking more damage than any other point in time with the hard stuns against him. He was being netherstruck, RP'd, that stuff. If they're able to stampede right when the reverse polarity connects, then they can just use that as a way to keep his health pool alive, and he turns the fight. But in this case, the Centaur goes in with his BKB. The Stampede's still there, but it's pretty useless. So I just wanted to mention in that fight in particular, the Aghanim Scepter would have been better, though generally speaking, against this Diffusal Blade, I see exactly why ZYF went for this choice. Still, the Aghanim Scepter is going to be out at a decent time here for the Enchantress. She's level 11, doing good damage with this Impetus, and her attack range just got buffed up to 740. So she's going to stay on the back end with Bloodlust on her and just go to town with these right clicks. But now that she pretty much has the ability to do massive pure damage to just about anybody she wants, who does she focus in these fights? She go for the Magnus, as he's obviously contributing the most in a team fight sense? Does she go for the Phantom Lancer and just hope that she's hitting the right one instead of an illusion? He's got a harder to ask, so honestly, like, generally speaking, I would say go for the squishiest one, but other than the Lina, who just drops one Lightstroke Ray and a Laguna Blade and walks away from the fight, nobody is squishy on this team. Almost 2,000 HP on the Spirit Breaker and Night Stalker, 1570 on the Magnus, and then with the Harder Tarask, the most important target is actually up to 2750 HP on Fan. It just kind of feels like the Phantom Lancer here in this game is outscaling everybody at this point. Like, generally speaking, I would still say Ehome would have a lineup that can go and fight it out for another 10 minutes or so, especially with the refresher coming out soon for RTK. But with Fan getting this big this quickly, with a GPM of 550, he's able to get items that just render so much of what Ehome want to do irrelevant. The Anchor Smash on Tide is still really good against PL, but end of the day, Diffusal 2, Harder Tarask, and soon to be a Manta style, that's pretty much something that Ehome aren't prepared to deal with this draft. We're going to see here, though, BKB popped up. Night Stalker just walking to the high ground. They're creating space up top where there's going to be a bigger interaction. Actually, Night Stalker just BKB TPs away, but Lanham just laying in the Impetus strikes. TP away from the Centaur 2. He will be able to get out. They just disengage. They take the Tier 3. They hit the range racks down to 545 HP, and they TP out ×2. So it's a distraction ploy from them. It costs them a little bit in terms of BKBs, but there are no casualties in that engagement. Still, I feel like Ehome really have to do something soon. I guess RTK just wants to farm the refresher, but even then, I'm not sure about his ability to get the double ulti off in the fights. If he leaves his Ravage at level 2, even though he'll be level 16 soon, I think that you can still cast the Ravage twice with the refresher, because it's only 225 mana instead of 325, so that adds up to 450 for that and only 375 for the refresher orb itself. That should be enough. If, however, at level 16 he goes for level 3 Ravage, he's got to use the Magic Stick and both Arcane Boots in order to make that work, and just pray and hope that he doesn't get any of his mana purged by that Diffusal Blade. So we're going to be seeing 4,000 net worth and advantage for EP right now, and I feel like that's going to continue to be the trend unless Ehome pulled out something amazing. They have to make the next couple of fights count. I mean, they have the Aghanim Scepter on the Enchantress, but this is really a good item against lower HP heroes. Once they get this tanky, it's almost nothing. RTK getting purged. There's going to be a skewer back. RTK now caught out. Really bad spot for him to be in. And we're going to see the Spirit Breaker just nether strike him down. Nice Centaur stomp going on to the Spirit Breaker, but it's going to be Penny Tank versus Fan on the front line that really makes the difference here. 2 BKBs forced out. They can wait those cooldowns, and now they can go ahead and push onto the racks. They'll wait for one more creep wave, it seems. No, they're backing off. I feel like with the RP, they're much stronger right now. The Tide's dead, and BKB is on cooldown for both the Centaur and the Shadow Fiend. But they'll go for the easier pickup here in the mid and wait for Spirit Breaker to not only clear out the bottom, but charge back to the mid.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So, we're going to be seeing Tier 2 go down, but it's going to be a stop forward onto Fan. Damage coming in against him. A massive RP onto everybody here, and Fan with the Empower is just going to right-click them all down. But there is some trying to run for the hills. They're not going to run far, though. Fan will clean it up. A triple kill for him, and that was with the Requiem debuff. The Empower plus 50% negates the negative 50% of the Requiem debuff, and they're able to just go right on top of him. Now Penny Tang, BKB in 3 seconds. He's going to need to use it soon. Anchor Smash will help, but it won't save him. It's got to be the Ravage. It's got to be the mech. Penny Tang trying to turn it, but Fan, he's got too much HP. They've got all 5 in the base. They have the top lane, and they're looking for mid. Even the Courier goes down here, looking for something from the secret shop. It looks like it was not a butterfly, something else. But we'll see right now. The Tier 3 tower going down for Ehome. And without Ravage, they're going to have to refresh to go for this last play. They've got Ravage coming up in a second here. They're going to have to use it. No, the Laguna Nether Strike. Oh, RFTK's down for the count. Landham's going to go down with him. And that's got to be the game now. Penny Tang, he's up against the world. He'll go for the Requiem, but they know it's over already. He'll get bashed down. He'll be killed off. Self-fuels, delays it for when the throne explodes, but in the end, EP take it away. Fan played fantastic on this Phantom Lancer. Oh my, that was just incredible to watch. He was able to do so much work, but those RPs though, oh man. Just the synergy from EP, the Energy Pacemaker, were able to pull out some amazing stops here. And Phantom Lancer has got to be something just that has to be respected, maybe revered. That was just incredible what he's able to do with this hero. Just what he knew, his tempo. He got the items he needed when he needed them to fight actively. And he just went for this man fight brawler build that allowed him to go up against everything Energy Pacemaker threw at him. If a PL just kind of went for, oh yeah, I'll slowly farm up something build, then Enchantress would have destroyed him with impetus. But because of what he was able to do in the fights, the KDA that he gained, the assistance of his allies, and the items that he was able to acquire, he is able to put the team on his shoulders. And you just look at the GPMs, like 360, 360, 360, 360, 621. Like, Phantom Lancer just did so much work this game, but obviously the ultimates from all of Energy Pacemaker were able to make those fights happen. Good game, well played, going next. Energy Pacemaker taking game 1 in this 2-game series between them and Ehome here in the group stage of the iLeague Chinese qualifiers. Thanks once again for tuning in. I myself am Blaze. If you enjoyed this very active, very early morning cast, then you can follow me on Twitter at BlazeCasting, and of course check out BeyondTheSummit.tv, their coverage hub for all awesome BTS tournaments. And that's going to be wrapping up game 1. Game 2 will be up in just a few minutes.